Leo, this is your horoscope for August 2016. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to the channel. That's the easiest way you can support me. Now, at the beginning of August, you start this month with a grand trine being in the chart, and that grand trine is in water. So immediately you'll notice that the focus is a little bit on the emotional side of things, especially when it comes to your place in the world and how you feel about that, okay? Are people disrespecting you? Are people recognizing the true you? Is there something else you want to do, or a way you can get your point across? I don't think these are particularly comfortable themes for you to think about, but there may be some sort of discrepancy between the way you feel and the way you see yourself and the way other people perceive you. Now, the 2nd of August is a really positive day for you because the new moon occurs at 8:46 in the evening based on Greenwich Mean Time, but that new moon is in Leo, so in your sign. So it pulls a lot of your energy in, and it means that those doubts that you have around the 1st to the 3rd even are kind of gone, because you become so much yourself that it becomes almost impossible for people to misunderstand, because you really feel yourself very much again. Mars goes into Sagittarius the next day on the 3rd, and that's in your 5th house of romance and children. And this is really positive for you because Mars is the archetypal male principle. It's energy, it's drive, it's what you want, it's what you won't compromise. In the fire sign of Sagittarius, it is very comfortable. It's like, I want to progress, I want to move forward, and I have the ways and means to do that. You become very interested in solidifying your romantic life and finding a partner who is passionate, someone who you can share your enthusiasm, excitement, fire with. And if you're single, you can really go out there and be on a mission to seek a partner. And if you're in a relationship already, you will really want to make the most of the passion that's there between you. On the 4th, the moon starts to conjunct Venus and Mercury. And this is very positive because at the moment, you've got the planet of good luck and good fortune, Jupiter, sitting in your 2nd house of money. And then you have a lot of the other planets, the personal planets, sitting in that 2nd house area. You've got Mercury and the moon in Virgo in your 2nd. You've got the North Node in Virgo in your 2nd. And you have Venus in Leo in your 1st, just at the border, 2 degrees away. So you're going to feel very comfortable making financial decisions and also making decisions around what my role is in the business that I work. If you're an employee, are you being compensated in the way you deserve? Does it match with your responsibilities? And you can really make a very accurate assessment of the role that you're playing. Are you working in financial services and you're working 40 hours a week, but you're being paid a pittance, and does that make sense? Really trust what you come up with, because you'll see it for what it really is, not what they're telling you. Mars starts to now conjunct Saturn on the 5th of August, and that conjunction lasts until the 7th of September. It is really important. Mars is a personal planet of desire, like I've already mentioned, but Saturn is also a very male planet. It's the archetype of the father. It is structure and security, and I'm going to test you, and I'm the authority figure, and this is the way things are going to be. So this is now what really lives in your 5th house of romance, and you feel absolutely solid, and there's no question in your mind that romance is where it's at, that this is what's going to fulfill you, that is what you want to move forward with, and that is what's number 1 on your list. Okay? So sex, romance, connecting with other people, being with another human is really all you're interested in now, along with this negotiation of your role when it comes to your working life. But really, the thing that makes you feel alive and good and passionate and excited and enthusiastic is the personal, intimate side of things. So that's going to stay there until the 7th of September. Okay, so if you're single, try and meet someone, and not just, I'm not just saying anybody, don't just have like a one-night stand to fulfill that, but it's a good time to find someone who can be a solid, permanent partner who brings you a lot of passion in your life, and it's good to go after that now. And if you're in a relationship, focus on that side of things, because your libido is going to be alive and kicking. On the 6th of August, Venus goes into Virgo, so it joins all of these other planets now in your 2nd house. And Leo, you're going to be the most intelligent, and you're going to make the best decisions when it comes to money and finances out of all of the signs of the zodiac in August. So you will be in a better position financially at the end of August than you were at the beginning of August. you can rely on that. On the 7th and 8th of August, the moon is now in Libra and it starts to square Pluto in your 6th house. So this is great because you'll start to get some information that will be very useful in transforming your own personal physical health. So that could go either way. Either you're up late at night, 3 in the morning, and you watch an infomercial for some new exercise machine and you say, great, let's go get it, and you start doing it, and that transforms your health. Or you're on this mission for romance and sex and love, and you meet someone and they're like, I would if you were like, a little bit more muscly or whatever. That, even though it hurts and it's negative, that may be the information that then spurs you on to go to the gym more. Who knows? But there will be information that has an impact on your physical incarnation, on the way you look. On the 9th of August, the moon is now in Scorpio and it starts to conjunct Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio in your 4th house. And over these 2 days, the 9th and 10th of August, you may resent one of your family members for something they present you with. Maybe someone does something which you don't appreciate. Maybe someone brings something up. Maybe someone says something that's hurtful to you. But there is potential for really a really strong sense of resentment and anger towards someone else. Okay? The way forward, I think the way to work this out is to focus on what you care about and what you think is the truth, and to say, okay, well, listen, that may be your opinion, but I've got a lot on, so I'm not going to listen to this anymore. Because it's not going to ultimately change your opinion. If your dad calls you up and he says, listen, you're such a disappointment to me, I knew you were never going to amount to anything, and I just want to share that with you. That's not particularly helpful, okay? And it's not going to do anything. And if you are working at something that you like and your father disapproves, then just say, well, okay, shove it, and then keep doing what you're doing, because it doesn't help you. And I really get that a family member brings something up which you don't appreciate. So don't spend a lot of time analyzing that or trying to make sense of it or trying to see what the hidden meaning is. There is no hidden meaning, it's just something that's unpleasant. On the 11th and 12th, the moon starts to conjunct Mars and Saturn. And this is when you feel most comfortable focusing on strengthening the fire, the passion, the romantic side of your life. And really that's what you should be focusing on, because that's going to be your greatest success here in August so far. On the 13th, Saturn goes direct. So this planet that represents structure and security is an outer planet. It stays in retrograde a long time. So it's been in retrograde for the last 4 months. It goes direct now. And what you'll notice is that there's an end to any anxiety or fear or sense of limitation or restriction that you've got, and really the path opens up even more. And when it comes to sex, romance, relationship, you're really much more confident, and you go out there in a way which at other times you wouldn't feel confident enough to go. So if you go out and you never approach people you're interested in, it may be that for the first time you're able to do that because you have the self-confidence. And that's interesting with the family stuff that came up earlier in the month, because you've had to stand up to something like that. It gives you a greater sense of self, and it gives you a greater sense of self-reliance. It's like, well, that's what you think, but this is what I really am. On the 14th, Chiron starts to quincux the sun in Leo. And this is interesting because you start to find out something from your working life and what impact that has on you. And on the next day, that is deepened because Mars starts to square Neptune in your 8th house. So you get a greater understanding of what your position is in your working life and whether it matches the real you or not. So sometimes, I mentioned that example with the bank and 40 hours and all of that, but sometimes we're in work and we're really being exploited, or it really doesn't match our true selves, and we rationalize it, or the people telling us that it works rationalize it for us, and we believe it, okay? The experiences that you have in your romantic life, in your personal sense of confidence and power, really shed a light on your career now and your position that you hold. Is this something that is compatible? And if it isn't, if you've got a PhD but you're working in a checkout in the supermarket, then it's really time to recognize that and to commit to making changes. And step one is to actually recognize that there's a problem. Okay? Recognize there's a problem and look at ways in which you can implement change and how you can make things better. Doesn't mean you have to quit the job, but you can start looking at jobs for PhD graduates. On the 16th of August, the moon is in Capricorn and it squares Uranus. Now, Uranus is at the top of your chart in Aries, and the moon in Capricorn is in your 6th house. So this is the best day to now take action to transform your physical day-to-day life. Whether it's career or work or your physical appearance, you will feel the most driven to actually implement changes. The next day, the moon is in Aquarius and it starts to square Black Moon Lilith in the 4th. And again, the family side of things I think is problematic, and that may come up again. So for family, that is your biggest obstacle and challenge this month, Leo. So just be aware of that. The full moon happens on the 18th, and that's in your 7th house of relationships. So the people who are in your life will be positive and you'll be making a positive contribution. And actually for you, this is a good month to sort the good from the bad. This full moon showers this humanitarian energy on you, okay? But it's also an almost lunar eclipse. The moon moves through the Earth's shadow, but it doesn't get blocked out. It just, the light of the moon is dimmed a little bit. So some people are saying this is a solar eclipse, other people aren't. In terms of the astrology, the effect it has is you will have good relationships, but there will be that niggling negativity in the background, which comes for you via your family. And it's a great time to look at, these are people who add something positive to my life, and these are the people who add something negative to my life. And I'm going to vow and organize my life so that I don't spend so much time with the negative people and I do spend time with the positive people. You know, family members are especially guilty of this because your family, they feel and they often expect that you'll put up with all of their crap just because they're family. But unfortunately, if you are a serious person with a serious life and you pay your own bills and you've got your own things going on, then it's important for you to say, listen, you contribute absolutely nothing. So it shouldn't come to you as a big surprise that I'm cutting you out of my life, or I call you once every 2 months instead of once every day, because you really just add Zippo. And if you don't even have to be that clear about it, you can just implement those actions, and that's reasonable. On the 19th and 20th, the moon, Neptune, Chiron, and the South Node, they meet up in the 8th house of other people. And again, you will start to feel and you will start to see what practical action you can take to alter your working situation and your role in the company you belong to, if you're employed. On the 21st, there's a grand trine in fire. And this will show you where you can go if you have to change your job. So if you do have to change your job, if it's turned out this month that you're being underpaid or that your skills and talents aren't really being used effectively, then if you look in the paper today, you'll see another opportunity that's going to be much more compatible. The sun goes into Virgo on the 22nd, happy birthday Virgo, and it joins all of your energy in the 2nd. So your ability to make good financial decisions is heightened even more, and you're like the financial wunderkind now of the zodiac, because you really make amazing financial decisions. So any of you Leos who trade on the stock market or who gamble or who do work with finances in that way, really focus on it a lot this month, because if you take financial risks, you'll really make very good decisions. You'll come out financially a lot better than you started. So put as much out there as you possibly can. It's a really good month to trade and to make a whole ton of money. On the 23rd and 24th of August, the moon goes into Taurus, and that's in your 10th house. And you will start to feel a sense of ease that your decision around your career and your work has now been made. You understand what's going on. Are things going to change or are things going to stay the same? It's not tormenting you. You're not actively thinking about it. You know the decision has been made. You know what's going to happen, and you can just relax and sit back knowing that things are going to go the way you've decided they will go. On the 25th, a grand cross appears, and this connects a lot of things in your chart. It connects your focus on romance and relationships with your place in the working side of things. Also, you're going to be interested in making financial decisions, and you also want to spend time with friends. So on this day, you've got a lot going on. I think it's important to do one thing at a time. I think focusing on finances is going to be the most satisfying area of your life. So try and resist the urge to do everything and focus on the money side of things. And if you have to do two things at once, then also focus on friendships. That's going to be good too. On the 26th and 27th, the Sun is now in Virgo, and it joins the North Node in Virgo in your second house. This is really interesting because the Sun is your identity, and the North Node is what you're trying to achieve on a soul level. And when they come together, it's your identity as it is now. It meets where you're trying to go in spiritual truth. And any discrepancies that are there will become glaringly obvious, okay? So if your sole purpose is to become a nurse and you're currently working in financial services, then you'll start to feel that niggling sense that something's off a little bit, and I'm doing this in a practical sense, that feels right, but I don't feel like I'm nurturing enough. And what does that mean? And it's almost like, you know that film Sliding Doors, where Gwyneth Paltrow, she gets on the tube, and in the other dimension she doesn't get on the tube, and then two different alternate lives play out in the film. That's really what this is. You come face to face with the other version of yourself that's either fulfilled or unfulfilled, and you'll start to see what's missing, what bridge you have to gap to bring those together so that you can achieve your life purpose. So if you're someone who's totally confused about that, if you've been saying to yourself, what should I be doing for work for the longest time, and you just have no idea, it's a good time to ask this again on the 26th of August, to sit down and say, what is my life purpose? You'll get a lot of information from that. If you don't get any information, you can always have a reading with someone like me who looks at your midheaven, your rising, your sun, and your moon to see what job is going to be best for you. But again, your own intuition is always going to be the most accurate, the best. So ask yourself the question again, and it's very likely that you'll get a positive answer. That happens on the 26th and the 27th, so you got 2 days for that. On the 28th, the moon squares Uranus. Does it? Yes, and your moon is in Cancer in your 12th, so spiritually you feel very nurtured and at peace. And again, that gives you an insight into what action you can take work-wise. So it seems like you do get that message about your life soul purpose and what you can do in this lifetime, because on the 28th, you feel like, thank you, Spirit, for giving me the answer. I now feel like I know what I can implement in a real world sense and how can I move forward. The moon is in Leo on the 29th, and it squares your Scorpio rising. And I think the family stuff that's been bubbling along and that you've really been irritated with at some points in the month, I think there's the potential for a major blow up today. So if your father calls again and says, hey, listen, earlier in the month I told you that you're a major disappointment and you're no good, and I haven't heard back from you, what's the problem? You can go tell him to F off, because you'll have had enough by now. So if someone continually criticizes you and brings negativity into your life, I think you'll be ready to cut the cord, to say, do one, and to be done with it once and for all. So be aware of that. Some people deserve a second chance, but some other people really don't. I mean, that's what my life experience has taught me. If you've got family members that are narcissistic and that never ever seek fault with themselves and that always are on your back and who always blame you, there's really not much you can do. I mean, the healthiest thing you can do is say, there's the door, use it. And really, that is the only healthy and loving thing you can do at times. Because people have to be willing to change themselves. You can't change them for them. You can't change them on their behalf. They've got to do it. And you don't have to wait around while they're abusing you, do you? On the 30th of August, Venus goes into Libra. So that's in your third house. So you're going to focus less on finances now, and you're going to focus more on communication and having friends and fun with your friends and chatting and doing fun little activities. Unfortunately, though, Mercury also goes into retrograde on the 30th of August. It's in Virgo in your second house. So the money aptitude and the gift and the ability to really know what to invest in at what time and how to do this and that perfectly, that goes away. Mercury rules Virgo. So for Mercury to go retrograde in the sign of Virgo means that this is going to be a particularly powerful retrograde. And if there is miscommunication, it's really going to hit properly. It's in your second house of the physical. So you may experience, computer problems or letters going astray. Just keep an eye on that and be aware that there's that potential. On the 31st of August, by the way, Mercury retrograde stays until the 22nd of September. On the 31st, the moon goes into Virgo to prepare for the new moon and the solar eclipse, which happens on the 1st. And this is it's almost like, yes, financially you've been super, super good, and then it slowed down now at the end of the month. But now with this new moon, it gives you it gives you a second wind. Like if you're running a marathon, it gives you a little bit of another chance to make good decisions. And here, with this new moon, you pull decisive energy into your chart, which allows you to make good financial decisions, but that will fizzle out a couple of days after the 1st of September. Okay, so if you do have to trade stocks or decide on investments and stuff like that, do it. Try and finish up by the end of August, beginning of September. That's the best time to do it. So I hope that's given you some ideas about August. I hope you have a fabulous month. If you'd like a private reading with me, please go to the website, gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab and audio reading with me there. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. That is the best and most helpful way you can support me. And if you'd like a private reading, then please visit a private live reading where I pull one tarot card for you. And it's not a private reading, it's a public reading. I do those on Facebook, facebook.com/Gregory Scott 444. I pull cards for people to give them, little tidbits of guidance. So if you're interested in that, check out that page. Have a wonderful August, and I'll speak to you soon.